Vilna Gaon's scheme, we have 4 chuliot between the first and the second knot, 4, 4, and 1. But exactly the same principle of alternating white and blue, and exactly the same techniques that were used. The same principle that we mentioned here is also applied to this shita, this opinion of the Gaonim, of Rav Amram Gaon, but instead of distributing it among 5 knots, we just group the chuliot, white, blue, all the way down, 13 of them, starting with 1 double knot. Actually, it's not completely clear what Rav Amram Gaon means by a knot, but we start with a knot and go all the way down 13 chuliot, alternating without any stops for knots, without anything in the middle, and at the end we have another knot. Or the same techniques can be applied here. This is the way Rav Shechter understands the RamBam, where you have a group of double knots, and between each double knot you have 1 chulia, 1 group of 3 windings. In the RamBam's opinion, the first winding starts with white, and the rest all the way down are blue, and the last twist of the last chulia is white. And in this way, you can distribute either 7 chuliot, in which case you'll start with a knot, end with a knot, so you have 8 knots, or you can have 13 chuliot, 13 groups of 3, and then of course you'll have 14 knots altogether. And this is the way Rav Shechter understands the RamBam. Groups of chuliot, groups of 3, each one delineated by a knot, a double knot at the beginning and a double knot at the end. A double knot before it and a double knot after it, separating the chuliot. The Ieminites understand the RamBam, and they have a tradition that goes all the way back to the time of the RamBam that has the chuliot delineated not by a double knot before it and a double knot after it, but rather by a very unique knot that both separates the chuliot from each other and also keeps them together. Okay, now we're going to do the shita of the Ieminites of the Teimanim in the RamBam with this very special knot that they have. Of course, first thing is we have to put the tzitzis through the corner, and remember, of course, to say B'Shem Mitzvat Tzitzit for the purpose of making tzitzit. And here I'm going to use now the string of the RamBam, right? 1 long string divided in half blue, half white, and this is the string that I'm going to use because in general the opinion of the Teimanim applies to the RamBam, so we're going to try to be consistent throughout. When I bring this through the beged, through the garment, the edge of the strings, I'm going to bring them together with all the edges more or less equal so that the strings come out the same length. Bring it through tightly through the edge, through the beged. But here I'm going to play with the tcheles string a little bit and pull it so that at the edge where it hangs down one side to the other, I'm going to pull this string a little bit until the boundary between white and blue, the boundary between the tcheles and the white, is exactly on the hole, so that one side of the string now you can see is all white and the other side is all blue. Some people are extra concerned because of the issue of kesher elyon, of the knot which should be closest to the beged, and what they'll do is make a double knot exactly right here against the beginning of the tzitzis, the beginning of the tzitzis hanging down. Again, maybe now is a good time to say, even the RamBam says that it's not the most crucial thing exactly how you tie the tcheles. If you, in general, if you're in a rush, let's say it's Erev Shabbat and you have only one garment to wear, but it doesn't have tzitzis on it, so what are you going to do? You just very, very quickly make a knot, a few twists, bring it together, and that's enough. But nonetheless, the tradition here that we're talking about is the tradition of the Teimanim, of the Ieminites. Kishematchil, as I mentioned, when we start, we always start with white. And the Rambam understands this to be the first twist, the very, very, very first twist of the Hûliah. So we're going to take one twist and twist it all around the tzitzit. One twist of white. And now here we're going to already begin to use the special knot of the Ieminites. Now, you'll see me do it here. I'm going to explain it in much, much greater detail in 1 second. But I'm just going to start because the first one, since the first twist is white and the rest are blue, I'm going to do it here very quickly without going into any detail. 1 second, we'll see this a little bit stronger. Okay, the key to making this special knot of the Teimanim is setting it up. So what we're going to do is, underneath the string and to the left-hand side, we're going to make a loop. We're going to make a loop that comes down from the left-hand side underneath and above the area where you want the Hûliah to end up, where you want the group of 3 to end up. And now we're going to go, again, above the area that you want the Hûliah to be, from underneath and to the left, over and through the loop. This is done once, and it's done again twice, and then it's done again 3 times. We then bring the string, the tchela string, back together again with all of the rest of the whites. Let it lie flush against the rest of the string, and that's very important. What we're going to do now is take the bottom of the loop, and from the place where you want the Hûliah to end up, that's right over here. Let's say we want the Hûliah to be in this area here. We're going to start from the bottom of the loop, unwinding from the left, underneath, and around on top. We're going to unwind this Hûliah, starting from farthest away from the garment, from the beged. We unwind it once, and then closer to the beged, second, and then the highest one, or the closest to the beged, the third. And even though this looks a little bit complicated, like everything got mixed up, when we pull from the bottom now, when we pull this tight from the bottom, the whole Hûliah, nice and tight, falls exactly into place. And you have a group of 3 together, separated from the one above it, kept tight in place, and all 3 are going to be kept together. And this is what you do all the way down, as we can see here, all the way down, 13 Hûliyot or 7 Hûliyot, depending on what you want. The first one starts with white, the last is white, and all of the rest in between are blue. Okay, now the first and the last are the trickiest ones. And it's not 100% clear exactly how one mixes the white and the blue together. One suggestion is, and everybody will have to try this for themselves, those who are a little bit better with their fingers probably have better success. One way to try to do it is when you have the loop on the left-hand side, take a white and a blue together for that loop. See what I have here? The loop that I'm making on the left-hand side has the white and the blue together, 2 of them. And now I bring through both the white and the blue 1 time, and then the blue 1 more time. The blue all by itself 1 more time. So altogether, I went through the blue and white together once, and then only the blue together. And then I bring these 2 down together with all the rest of the 6, and I start unwinding. If it's the bottom one and I want the white to be closest to the bottom, furthest away from the beged. I unwind the white one, and then I begin to take that loop of techeles and unwind the next two. 1, 2, and then once again I take those two strings, both the white and the blue now, I have to take up the slack and pull them tight. It's really a little bit potluck here, but if you try very, very hard and have a little bit of luck in siyata d'shmaya, then you can usually get something which, again, after a little bit of playing with, resembles a Hûliah. It's not too bad. Resembles a Hûliah, where you have the two top are blue and the bottom one is white. And the same would be true with the first Hûliah, where you would take again on the side the white and the blue together, go through once with both the white and the blue, go through another time with the white, with only the blue, excuse me, and then when you unwind it, you unwind the blue on the bottom, so that you would have, like we have here, a Hûliah